the sweethearts of lettering. I'm so excited to introduce you to Sharon Zeugin, Mike Gold, Carol DuBosch, not in any particular order. That's just where we are on screen. I want to thank everyone for coming to For the Love of Pangrams. I had no idea this many people loved pangrams. I just had an idea. So I want to welcome everyone. It's so nice to see you all. I'm excited to meet you, learn how you wrapped your minds around this incredible challenge for those of you who did submit, and to learn from our jurors how they came to choose their favorites and the wacky winning categories. We have some crazy categories today, and I just want to show you a couple of kind of fun pieces here. I think you remember this from Mike. You might have seen some advertisements as we were advertising for this event online. And here is Carol's. Oops, need to start that over. There we go. Wonderful. Or maybe you found out via email or from one of these great sweethearts. But I'd love to just dive into some of the winners already, if that's okay. Unless Mike, Sharon, or Carol, how would you like to greet everybody in terms of sharing your experience of being jurors in the love for the love of pangrams?
Well, I'll start. Uh, um, First of all, it's hard working with Carol DuBosch because she's an overachiever. Oh my gosh. Like 2 seconds after Heather asked us for samples, Carol DuBosch had already, submitted one. And so it's just great. I have so much respect for her. And it was just great. Just to be with, all of you is just a treat for me. So this was a joy. And it's nice because Sharon and I go way back too, and I don't get to see her very often. I got to meet her daughter Maeve back when Maeve was just a little one at Ghost Ranch. Oh my gosh, and that was a real treat. Now she's is she out of college or in college?
Way out. I know. I'm like, no, I can't even say I'm a mom of a college age daughter. They're all grown up and off out into the world.
Yeah, that's wild. Anyway, so this has been a treat for me, and I was amazed at all of the pangrams that came in because the one that I did that Heather just showed was an original pangram, but I struggled with that. It was hard to do, and then I saw some of the pangrams that were turned in by people, and I was just in awe. So it was a treat to read all the pangrams, and I loved the range of pangrams that we saw, from really poetic to just funny to really it's just such a range of creativity. So thank you to all that contributed and all that might contribute next time.
That's right. We're definitely going to do this again. Now, Mike, you mentioned Sharon's daughter. Sharon, you have a daughter, but she also has experience writing pangrams too.
I know. And I was trying to find those because I have them printed out somewhere, but alas, I could not. So that's what happens when you reorganize your studio. See, no, there's no reorganization going on. I just want to second what Mike said. I think of myself as a high achiever, but all my pangram's still in my head, so stay tuned. So I was so impressed with everybody's pangram, and in some ways I hated being a judge because I said something to this effect earlier to Carol and Heather. It's sort of like comparing a rose to a sunflower to a bluebell. They're all, just the fact that you did it and that you all did it so well is terrific. And I think what spoke to me, I mean, they all spoke to me in some way, shape, or form, but I always err towards but I always lean towards the poetic. And so that's kind of what, where I ended up landing. But yeah, I am setting myself the task to create a pangram. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome.
Carol?
Carol?
I had a similar experience with Mike and Sharon, just absolutely in awe of what was submitted, and finding that I know that in the 60 years I've been a calligrapher, I have never written my own, and suddenly it was possible. And in the few weeks I've been involved with this pangram contest, I've actually written 2. So it's as though a little window opened and I did it. But the ones that you have all submitted, the range is so phenomenal. It covers every base possible. And thank you. And it's been a joy.
That's so wonderful. Well, I would love to, if you don't mind, I'd love to just launch a quick poll for everyone in the room. I'm curious, have you written a pangram? It's really simple. Yes, not yet, or are you scared? And it's okay if you're scared because it's not easy for all of us, but we've also learned, some of us have been surprised to learn that once you turn it on, it's kind of hard to turn off. Great. Well, we've got lots of participants already. I'm going to go ahead and end this poll because I think just about everybody, let's do a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Almost everybody's answered. And let me share the results. So it looks like most of the people, half the people in the room haven't written one yet. So hopefully that you will leave inspired and excited to write your own pangram. We're certainly going to continue to offer this every year if the Sweethearts of Lettering will also agree to be jurors, or we might come up with other different creative ways, maybe even some crowdsourcing voting, things like that. We've got lots of ideas in going forward, but I don't want to stop us from also announcing some of these winners. So if you don't mind, can I go ahead and do that? All right. So let's start when I look at who's in the room, I see a lot of calligraphers. So I think you'll probably appreciate this first topic of calligraphy inspired. Now, let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Here, you're going to see these are the winners of this category. And I think you're going to see some really interesting words in here that you've probably written before. And notice that I've also noted where they've also won other awards. So want to put special notice to Sally Penley's. She got the best tribute to Jackie's Foreign for Sexy Scripts, Jackie's Book, Quotes, Brush, and My Easy A Pen, Text Wove, and Gold. So thank you so much, Sally, for submitting that one. Is she in the room? Yay! I'm so glad to see you here, Sally. Awesome. Great. So this is wonderful.
Can I add something?
Yeah. Yeah.
The last time that I was in Portland, I got to meet Jackie Zavarin for the first time, and what a treat! I just wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect by meeting her and stuff, but she was just so alive and so full of energy, and talked about all the things that she'd done, and just had such a love for calligraphy and was so welcoming because I'd never met her before. But like probably many of you, I had her little orangish red book that I learned from back when I was first starting out and all. And I loved it because it was just so straightforward and so great to see all of those styles. And also just a big shout out to Jackie, because I'm assuming that Sally, that's your tribute to Jackie, I'm guessing, right? I think it's spelled wrong in the pangram that I see here, but I don't think it was spelled wrong when you submitted it, Sally. I think it was Jaki.
That could totally be on me. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, Heather.
I think I was, yeah. So I would love Sally, if you don't mind, if you're here. Are you here?
I am.
Yay.
Let me unmuted.
Find you. Yeah, let me
You know,
find you.
we had a lovely tribute to Jackie, a celebration of her life on Saturday. That was just over the top. Carol was there. Anita, I see you in the group, and you were there. A number of people attended, and Elizabeth Walsh. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful tribute. The sun came out for once in the Northwest, and I think Jackie has something to do with that. It was just wonderful. She was a phenomenal, remarkable woman, and we've lost a major icon. So.
Well, thank you for writing that in so many beautiful pangrams. We're going to see Sally's names throughout here, so don't be surprised. So great to have you here, Sally. Thank you. So yeah, we've got a lot of heavy hitters here. So some of you might know that you can submit more than once, and the submissions are going to be rolling in year long. So keep them coming. I love these. I'm an appreciative inquiry facilitator, so I love anything that makes me feel good. So these are our feel good pangrams. The first one, very positive. The second one, a little risque. So
Perfect
super,
for Mardi Gras.
right? Yeah, exactly.
I
And
was
I went,
in New
yeah.
Orleans, and so that would have been we saw that.
And I just want to recognize Kate Smock, because Kate Smock, this was the very first Pangram that came in and was submitted. And it was what inspired this entire contest. Not that it was this Pangram that inspired, but it was a month ago that we had a handwriting class, and Kate was in the class, and I gave everyone a sticker that had a Pangram on it. And I said, my challenge to you is, if you can write a Pangram, then it's going to be a wonderful tool for you to have in your arsenal as you're practicing your handwriting and your lettering. And she went home that night and submitted this one. And I said, that's it. We're having a contest. I brought in Carol and Mike and Sharon, and I said, can we have a contest? And they're like, sure. And I'm like, good, because I already said we're going to. So we're going to do this. And I immediately came up with the form and some ideas for prizes. And Kate then decided to send in a few more. So you're going to see Kate's name in here as well. So it was really fun to be able to see those. And then, of course,
can I
yeah.
add something again?
Yeah.
First of all, it's hard to say no to Heather.
That's for sure. I second that.
When she comes up with something, I know it's going to be fun, and she always makes it great. But I also wanted to do a shout out to Fonda, who you have listed there for most positive. I don't know if she's in the house here. Are you there, Fonda? Anyway, Fonda goes back to my days in Sacramento because that's where she's from, and I know her and her husband, and they're lovely people, and she's a really wonderful person, fine calligrapher, teaching out in Sacramento also. And so I knew her back when I lived in Sacramento. So just wanted to have a shout out to Fonda, because I haven't seen her in donkey's years.
That's wonderful. And she might not be in the room because we just hit 100 people. So we might have maxed out the Zoom room. Yeah. So I want to thank everyone for being here.
I didn't know you could max out the Zoom room, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think we might have done that. And then, of course, sometimes Pangrams reflect the not so great things in life. Okay, so I think we can all relate to these kind of things, right? So I would love to know if anybody in the room is excellent at the xylophone. And if so, let's make sure that we give Yogi some lessons. But when I read Annette's, I just went, ew, that just sounds so gross.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah. So some of these are definitely cringeworthy, and some of them tell pretty big stories. But I think we can all agree that we love the play on words. And so these pieces not only were in the wordplay category, but they also won other awards as well. So take a moment to check these out, and love to hear from Sharon and Carol and Mike what you have to say about these.
Well, I just loved the "Go quick, Joe, ambidextrously own Zev's wife."
Easier to write than say, huh?
It's definitely, but I think ambidextrously working as a phone would definitely be a challenge.
And I like the wacky jumbo freewheeling texturized. I mean, a freewheeling texturized windsurfing pachyderms quit skydiving. I'm like, okay, then.
So I had to look up pachyderms. Does anyone know what that is?
Elephant.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it's even more funny. So yeah, shout out to Barbara.
That's why it was fun to visualize that one, to picture what that looked like. And I loved the adjectives in there. That was fantastic.
Yeah, one of the things that I love to do when I'm writing my own words and reading other people's is I like to speak them. So I went through all of these. That was part of my jurying process, is to speak them out loud and hear how they went, trippingly off my tongue. And so some of these are really fun to do.
It was hard too, because really judging these is like judging apples and oranges, because I really like poetic ones, but I
Yes.
also really like silly ones and funny ones, and the jumbo freewheeling texturized
Yes.
windsurfing pachyderms quit skydiving. That was almost my favorite one,
I know,
but
it was on the top of my list.
because
I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
My list was just a cycling. So at any given moment of the day, somebody else would have been a winner. So,
right. And so
Every
there's
day I had a new list.
yes.
yeah. And it had changed, like you said, you would just sort of, depending on what mood you were in.
Exactly.
And like Carol said, I love the ambidextrously. Even pronouncing that is
I know.
hard.
Okay, so speaking of hard words to pronounce, who's up for this challenge?
Oh,
Yeah, I just sort of like, yikes.
So I'm wondering if Kath is on the phone. Or if she's on the line. Let's see. Might be a
Yes,
little
I'm
late.
here.
Oh, yay! I'm so glad you're here. Let me spotlight you. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write this?
And read it for us,
Yes.
Okay,
please.
so it's I read it. It's in German. It says: Visualisierungsprofi Jackie verwandelt mit flexiblen Stiften süße Typografie allmählich zu quasi fabulösen Kunstwerken.
Wow.
So I wanted to create something which has to do like with what we do, like visualization and typography. And then I tried some words, I scribbled them down, and then it's not that easy to get like all the German letters with ä, ö, and ü, and yeah, and then I looked up some words, and like fabulous, we don't use it like that, but it's a word. And yeah, and then I want to construct even a sentence. So that was also a challenge. And now I saw that you could like do pangrams in like more than one sentence, or even not like a real sentence. So that was also like kind of hard, but it was fun. And also to shoveling around it, but it got very long. Yeah.
That tends to happen with German words, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I want to let everybody know that every single pangram that was submitted, I ran it through a pangram calculator to make sure all the letters were there. But I couldn't find one that was a German pangram calculator. So I had to go in and actually visually check that all the umlauts and the esset was in there. So well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Very excited to have you here. Yeah, so Kata is a visual practitioner, and we have some other visual practitioners in the room where we end up writing really big letters. And you can see behind her, she has a big kapow because she was probably in one of my classes where I was showing how to write really big with a really big marker. Can you just tell us what size of a tool you used for that?
It's the big one art. Yeah,
Nice.
like double
stroke. So you can imagine those strokes are about 20 millimeters wide.
No, actually for this behind me, it was like this you showed.
Yes. So that's my hacked up fat one. So that's a 20 millimeter. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a 20 millimeter pen. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anything else you'd like to add, Kata?
No, thanks.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that you were a part of this, and thank you for giving us such a beautiful pangram in German. Yay.
Before reading it.
Exactly. So speaking of really fun things to think about, what about using rare letters? So if you'll notice that I've put these letters, the words that use the rare letters in blue, so you can kind of see those. And those folks that use those rare letters also they were evocative, the best original word, and also best tribute to Lewis, Carroll, and Jabberwocky. Can you say something, Mike, about about how you came up with some of these interesting categories?
Sure. Well, I like unusual words, so picking X words, Q words, and J words were fun to do, and going through and looking at them. And when I saw the word oxmox, I had no idea what that was, so I had to look it up. And I guess it's also a company that sells shoes and clothing and stuff, but it's also like a name for somebody that's really innovative and all that, because I didn't believe that that was a word. And so, you know, it reminded me of the poem Jabberwocky too. That's sort of a nonsense poem. I like nonsense poems. And John Lennon has written some nonsense poems that he's sung before, and Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky I've done lots of interpretations of and stuff. And I love to play, and, you know, doing something that's nonsensical like Jabberwocky is really, really fun. I've done, you know, lots of that. So that particular poem reminded me of Jabberwocky. I could picture what an oxmox was, even if it didn't mean something like innovative and, you know, a very spirited person. I was imagining an oxmox like a Jabberwock or something. So that's, you know, that was that. And Zephyrs, I love both, I think Sharon and I both bonded over the word Zephyrs in that poem. Yeah. And I was actually, when I first saw it, I actually was thinking of Zeppelins, which is also another favorite word, because I love blimps, and, you know, the big Goodyear blimp that flies over, you know, Ohio, because it comes from Ohio. But I forgot that Zephyrs is not a Zeppelin. So I kind of had to look that one up too. And that was beautiful. I was so happy that somebody put in the word Zephyrs. And who doesn't like Quagmire? I mean, that's sort of, yeah, it kind of reminds me of a character out of The Simpsons or something. I'm not sure who it is, but that's what it sounds like. So
Mike, I love that you categorize the Zephyr of vernal equinox sigh into my back window left ajar, that you categorize that one as poetic. It's a small poem for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sharon had that as poetic also.
Was it you, Sharon?
Both of us,
yeah.
I think.
Poetic and evocative, because it had such a dreamy, evocative, I could just be there. I could feel it. It engaged all my senses.
Well, there's drama. The back window left ajar. Ooh.
Sharon and I had to wrestle over which one we were going to let her, and
we picked several of the same ones.
Yeah, and so we had to fight over that one.
Yeah,
okay, I hope you both won.
Oh, we did. Absolutely. It's a win-win all around. You could have just randomly assigned me one and I would have been like, all good. This is awesome.
Any of them. Exactly. I feel the same way.
I love it. Well, we certainly share this love. And also this takes us right into literature-inspired pangrams. So again, another tribute, this time to Don Quixote. And I think, let's see, is Katrina on the line? I think she might have something to share with us.
Yes, here we have
hold on just a second. Let me bring you on. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Wait for it. And the reveal.
There she is.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, this was from my grandfather. It is the family bust of Cervantes. And so it's pretty easy to be inspired by something like this, in my opinion.
I love it. Well, you're definitely a prize winner today.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, what is the ribbon in your background? Because you've got a white ribbon.
That is a third place ribbon from the Oregon State Fair that I won this year.
Yay! And what did you win it doing?
It was in the novice calligraphy. And here we have, some glare. It says manic italic.
All right.
Nice.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I just have to know, from those of you who are in, little preview. For those of you who are in Oregon, who judges that at the fair?
There is a rotating cast of judges.
2 calligraphers.
2 calligraphers. Nice.
I want to say last year was Yuki Tanaka and MK Beckham, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. All right. Well, thank you so much. What else do you have to share about your pangram? Anything else you'd like to add?
It was a whole lot of fun to create, and I'm so glad to see everybody here today and read all of the other pangrams and have even more things on my list of what I want to letter in the future.
right? Well, now we're not going to run out of any things to letter. That's for sure. We've got plenty of content here. Thank you so much, Katrina, for joining us today. Awesome. And why don't we just go ahead and jump right into just in time for the Super Bowl, right? So this just happened. Of course, the judging happened before the Super Bowl. So I'm wondering if Jeanette if she got the winning, if her team won.
My husband kept talking about the NFL, and I thought, "Oh," my mother-in-law used to call it the stupid bowl. So I thought, okay, I'll honor her by saying the NFL because that's her son that loves to watch this. So that's where it came from.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Anyway.
And I thought it was such an interesting topic too. And when Jeanette found out that she had a winning pangram, she says, "Really?" I said, "Yes." And not only that, but look, she even has her own page. She wrote 2 others. The next one, violins play, but the petals of dandelion bugs with zippers worn, chill jam, making quite an X that marks the spot. I think that says it all.
That's great.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Jeanette, for inspiring us with your pangram.
You're welcome. It was fun.
The third one there was mouth-watering.
I know.
Lollipops for breakfast.
I like my Xerox yells for a long winter. Zzz, that's great.
So fun. So whether you are having a snack for the Super Bowl or you're taking a break, we've got more tea and another poetic one here. So I just love a good tub, and I thought these were great.
Yeah, I love the 6th of July. That felt very, very haiku-esque. Again, 6th of July, morning haze quickly evaporates as bathers spread their towels.
It's the 6th of July, not the 4th.
That's right. That's
everyone's relaxed.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, so much packed into that very brevity of that.
That's so wonderful. And we have a great question in the chat. Margaret's asking, will all the pangrams be available for printing and using? Absolutely. So this is what the great thing about sharing the love for pangrams is. At the very end here, I'm going to share a PDF, and I'll also share it in a following email so that you have access to it along with a recording of this in case you want to go back and watch it. But yes, everyone will get the PDF. I do have to make a couple of corrections to it. So you're going to get the first version, and there's going to be some edits that I need to make, but that's fine. I'm already taking notes here of where I might have had some typos. But yes, you will all receive this.
I was wondering if she did the 6th of July that was maybe inspired by the play 5th of July that by Langford Wilson.
You don't think she chose 6th because there's an X in that word?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she did. I was just,
I guess it's the X was a.
But it's like, is that the sequel to the play 5th of July, which is a wonderful play? But anyway, that'll have to wait. Maybe I'll have to email her about that.
Yeah.
So more about let's more about what inspires us. Nature is definitely an inspiration for all of us and how it works its way into our work. Here's some beautiful ones here. Congratulations, Karen, Fonda, and Linda, who are also on the call.
Yeah, I love the autumn is quickly upon us, for have just raised the waxy cabbages. Again, a poem right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the graceful fawn quickly jumped over 60 hybrid zinnias.
From Fonda.
Yeah.
The saxophone's jazzy notes bounce quietly like fig leaves in the warm sun. So evocative, all of these.
So
you can tell I don't just like to speak. I love to speak these out loud because they're fun to hear and say, to speak.
I noticed that Karen and Linda are on the line. I don't know if Fonda's here, but if you'd like to talk about it, we'd love to hear what inspired you to make these, if you don't mind unmuting.
Beautiful.
Hello, Karen. You're still in Pittsburgh, right?
I am right across the river from Judy.
Yeah, and Myrna.
Yep. Myrna's 85 and what is Judy 88? So they have such a wealth of information. But so what inspired me was I have a little palette of Dinky Dips in fall colors, and I wanted to write something in ombre, and I started playing around with the Pangram, and I used a website called Pangram Me, maybe might be .me, I'm not sure, but it's Pangram Me, and you can actually type it in until you get something that actually works. So they'll tell you when you have the right amount of letters. Yeah, so it's really fun.
So did you actually letter that Pangram yourself, Karen?
I did. I did it in the my Dr. P.H. Martin Hydrus watercolors that they ombre very well.
Can you share what you did?
You know,
I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's always fun to see.
I don't. It's on my Instagram. I might be able to.
Is it on your Instagram?
Yes.
All right.
I'll find it. We can find it there, Karen.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll all go there and then like it and follow you. How's
Yeah,
that
I'll
sound?
put my Instagram in the chat, but yeah, it's but I do have, if you hold it on a second, I do have my colors. See?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
John Neal and Paper and Ink get a lot of money from me, as I'm sure everybody here does. Yeah, but I just dipped my pen in and went up and down, and sometimes just swish the watercolor out of the pen. So it was fun.
Wonderful. And Linda,
Hey,
I'd love to hear what inspired you as well. Thank you, Karen.
thank you. And so wonderful to see all of you. It's just great. Here we are in our little cocoons, and to get together like this is such a joy. When I was teaching full time at Princeton Adult School, I used to use the quick brown fox, right, to introduce the letters. I just got so tired of lettering that one, and I just asked the muse, how about something musical? Maybe, take us to a nice place. And I started writing, and that came out. So I use it a lot. I use it as a calming mechanism too. Just when things are crazy, I'll just say that in my head, and it's very calming.
Linda, that's quite a library behind you there.
Oh, wow.
Well, as you know, Mike, I've been in this game a long time.
Yeah, I remember visiting you and your sign painter friend. I forget what his name was.
My husband, Al Zanetti.
Al, yeah.
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 Yeah. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Did.
Yeah.
Here in New Jersey.
Yeah.
It was. And it was another lifetime, wasn't it? You were going into New York for something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Pleasure.
that was a joy meeting you and Al. That was
I feel the same way.
Oh.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Yeah. Real joy. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for being here, Linda.
I just
Carol.
love hearing these backstories so much.
Oh, yeah, for real.
It makes it all rich and round and
yeah, not just black squiggles on white paper, right? There's a whole dimensional kind of thing.
I
get into the spirit of it.
I have an alphabet that Al did that's somewhere in my collection.
Right.
That
16 by 20. Yeah.
Yeah. And
he was the master of brush Romans. No kidding. Yeah.
Yep.
He has a wonderful piece in one of the Speedball lettering books, not the most recent or after that. It's a couple issues back, but it's the rainbow alphabet in the back of the book. And he was kind of born to it with his initials AZ.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always loved that.
Yeah. He would play on those words a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So talented.
He's been gone a long time. It's over 20 years. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Thank
anyway, it was a joy meeting you.
You too. This is fun, guys. Thank you for all of this.
Absolutely.
If you can't meet in person, this has been having Zoom, has been a blessing in a way,
Oh,
because
it
you get to
sure
see
is.
people
Oh,
that
it
you
sure
wouldn't
is.
normally see.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole
So
new
thank
world.
you for that,
It's
Heather.
Yes,
This
thank
is
you,
kind of
Heather.
fun. It's bringing back
Heather,
bringing back
Yay.
memories.
heroine.
Oh, we have more. We have more. Don't praise me
I
yet.
don't
We still have a lot of celebrating. And I'm really glad that Karen got into the room, because I just saw an email from her, and we've got a few other folks that are emailing me. How do I get into the room? But it's fine. We still have space. It's okay. We're good. But I want to focus a little bit about one of the gold standards in creating pangrams. And I think all of the jurors agree that it's around it being memorable, but really brevity. Can you
Yay.
say a little bit about this? I know you all were all excited about this, that you all agreed on this one.
I counted the letters on lots of them to find the shortest ones. I really like brevity, indeed.
Well, yeah, the jump we zombies and quickly exit fresh graves really, well, it jumped out at me on visually, but also it was just, how could she compact all those letters? Very
And yet paint a picture.
yes, paint a picture, so indelible a picture. Yeah, and all these really succeeded in that way. Yes.
And
Yes, red carpet attire? Who said that? That must be Mike. Or is that
which?
Heather?
No,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
Mike.
that was me.
Good.
And it's the Julia Wildman is actually Julie
Yes.
Wildman, talented calligrapher from Chicago, who's a really good teacher. I don't know if she's in the room, but I'm sure most of you are familiar with her. Well, actually, Sally too. Sally's a wonderful teacher as well.
Really? You don't have much more to say about brevity? That's pretty brief.
Well, yeah, and the red carpet thing only, I mean, I thought of that because this is award season with, the Grammys and the Golden Globes and the Oscars and stuff coming up. So, you start seeing all these fashions on the red carpet, and also I just was imagining, for the red carpet attire, a VIP fez with quartz gems and bling. Well, I mean, wouldn't that look great on the red carpet?
Yeah. I like short ones because I tend to be able to remember them.
Yeah.
In
Yep.
the moments
like-
where you need it.
Yeah, I like that too, but I just think it does take a huge level of skill to be able to make it all work so well. So, because I think I could probably get one out, but it would be very long-winded. But oh my gosh, these are so succinct, and they're very.
I call them the gold standard for sure.
Yeah.
It's well
Yep.
done.
I started, I had a category that was under 40, because that was my standard for like what would be the shortest, and there were a few of them, so I started counting the letters in each of them and stuff. And there's the last one there, Jump We Zombies, I think that was the one that was the shortest, maybe, I guess.
Yeah,
Jumpy overexcited quick fire whistling zebra is, I don't know if that's shorter or not, but they were both under 40.
Yeah, they're all
And
under 40.
that's a challenge to be able to do that, like you were saying, Sharon, because I've tried to do that too, and I got one, but it's not as good as these.
Actually, Heather, the one that's Quick Joe ambidextrously phoned Zev's wife, that has 36.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's the shortest one.
So that gets in the brevity category too.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, we'll have to relabel that one. That's good. I'm making a note.
It's good on several levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at all those adjectives that Barbara shoved in there.
I know, she's
Aqua fuzzballs. Hey, how
How
often do you get a chance to really think about aqua fuzzballs?
So
I want everybody to use that in a sentence today.
So which one would Carol had 36? Was that the Go Quick Joe?
Quick Joe.
Okay, because the Queasy Big Walrus jumped in fake toxic hovel had 37.
That's
So it was
37, right?
Well,
Really?
see
Yeah.
how into it these jurors get about these pangrams?
yeah.
It's a big
So-
job.
It is a big job.
It's a
Huge.
responsibility. It's on our shoulders, Heather.
It took a lot of deliberation.
It did. It did.
And throwing
It
a
did.
dart at the wall after a while. Just
And you're probably wondering how they came to it, right? So you came to this because I allowed you to have as many like categories as possible, right? So some of them are silly, but some of them are notable.
I'd like to know who spent the most time
Uh-oh.
concocting their pangram.
Oh, that's a great question. So for those of you in the room, do you have any idea how long it took you to create a pangram?
Who
Your
sent the
first
mo-
one.
Who sent the most, Heather?
Oh, that's a good question too.
Yeah.
Barbara got a lot in there, and Lindley. I know
Sally had a lot.
Sally. Yeah.
Henley.
Yeah, there's some that had several. There was one that didn't make it through the calculator, only one, and it was missing an X. And she said that she's considering tweaking it for next year. So yes, that's totally acceptable. You can do that as well. But yeah, it's looked like Lindley had 4 and Barbara Mann had 6. Sally had 4. Yeah. There are people that put several in. Annette, you had 3.
Mhm.
Excellent. Jeanette had 3. Yep, exactly. Well, we have a few more top picks.
Did
Before
anybody
we-
spend more than an hour?
Oh
I
yeah,
think
let's
somebody
find out.
put in the
About
chat
an
that they
hour.
spent about an hour. Anybody spend more than an hour? I know I did.
I know I would. I'm still doing it. So how many days is this? How many months?
I
It's
would work and
all
then
year
come
round.
back and then come back and walk away and come back. So it was not all the same time.
Mhm.
And
So
you
does
know,
that mean you were
get-
handwriting it?
I actually got
Yeah,
into a rhythm of doing it. Once you start doing a pangram, they
Sure.
start coming a little easier once you start doing your first few. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I can start building on that. But the first ones were really hard to do.
Well, do you all start with like, do you have a word that you build it around? Like some funky
Or an
X,
idea.
Z, an idea. Okay, more than the word. Because I think I would start with a word and then try to build.
Yesterday, I wanted to do one about Valentine. So I started Quirky Valentine. It's like, well, we're going somewhere.
Mhm.
The one you came up with that was in the latest advertisement for this about the winning a prize, the big prize that you did, Carol in the Heart.
Yeah.
Did you write that one?
Yes,
That was
Oh.
great.
yesterday.
What
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
FEMO?
You're on a roll.
Fimo is a craft clay that you get
Yeah.
at Michael's and you make things with it. So it was a Fimo prize.
I
need
love
to-
it.
F and M and an O.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I was like,
No
I
argument.
looked it up and I went, is that what she's talking about?
It's a product
Yeah.
name.
Yes, no, I know what Femo clay is. I just wasn't sure if that's what you were referring to.
That's
That's
what the
great.
prize was made out of.
Yes. So does anybody work in Femo clay? We might commission you to make a prize for next year.
Years ago, I did.
You're so quick, Carol. I imagine you writing that out in calligraphy
Right, all
as
in
you were writing it. You know, it's like
As you're
And it's
baking a
like,
cake and
Well, I had the design all figured out and I'm kind of working on the design and editing the words at the same time.
So for those of you who are not familiar with the image, actually you are because it was in the email that went out to everybody today. Hopefully you saw that. Are you going to be teaching a class, Carol, on how to write in a heart shape? Because I know you've taught how to write in a circle
Well,
or a spiral.
I do teach spirals and circles, so heart's right kind of in there. You just give it a little kink.
Okay. All right. Well, Sally's sharing that once she gets a concept, they come pretty fast. That's great. That's wonderful. Any
That's a
other ideas from the pros? Go ahead and put that in the chat. We had a few top picks before we actually got to the final picks, which we're going to do some final picks here in a moment. But these top picks, I want to hear from our sweethearts here. What was it like kind of, because some of you kind of had to wrestle around with which was your top pick. Some of you had to wrestle with each other to and negotiate who is gonna who is gonna be the ultimate winner. But these were some of the other top picks.
I loved the picture of the exquisitely woven snapdragons. I just, I mean, I think snapdragons, as they grow, could easily weave together.
Yes.
No, those fuzzy bees are going to be all over the place.
Yeah, and the
Barbara?
hijacking, you can see all of them like just like
Yeah,
commandeering the snapdragons.
it was a beautiful picture, Barbara. Thank you.
Barbara,
Yeah.
would you like to share with us what inspired you on these two? Because you had several pangrams.
Beautiful.
Please feel free to unmute. Oh, great.
Well, I don't know. It was just ideas that popped in my head on a dark, wintry day. So they were a lot of fun to write. And I was using a word thing from Scrabble to see how many letters and letter combinations to put together. Kind of had an idea of a topic after a while, and then started putting letter combinations together to see what other words I could get with those. So
Fabulous.
I don't know what else to say about it, but that's
Did
how
any of
it
these?
Really short too, Barbara. That
Hi, Barbara. Barbara, I know you're a calligrapher, but are you also a writer and a poet too?
not that I know of.
And a painter too. She's an amazing watercolorist
Thank
too,
you.
and traveler.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, I loved that one too because it was so visual and light, and I think I was reading it when we were in our ice mode, and I really made me wistful for spring.
Well, that was it. We had a dark, kind of a snowy day that day, and I was just putting words together and having some fun with them. I have a lot of others that didn't make the cut, but I had, I think, about 6 of them that did.
Yeah, beautiful.
7 of them. So they were fun.
Well, we are thrilled that you submitted them. We hope that you'll submit more. You might even, I don't know, we might have to bring in some of our top pick winners and those who submitted so many to maybe give us some advice for others. And do you have any advice for some of the others on today's call that may not have ever written a pangram before?
Well, I hadn't either until this contest. So I had thought about some because I was tired of the fox and the dog.
Oh yeah.
And wanted other things, and some of the wizards and the boxes and some of the other things never made sense to me. So I was always looking to try one, but it was helpful to have the automation to know whether you had all the letters and what were missing. And that was extremely helpful, because otherwise I was counting out each one, and it was harder to do. And once you gave me the automation, they just started to flow, and I started having fun with them and had a lot of giggles over some of them. And quite a few didn't make it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm curious, were there any of these words that surprised you that came up and you're thinking, where did that word come from? Maybe it's not part of your vocabulary or you don't think of very often.
Well, not necessarily in this. The one with the pachyderm, that's not a common word that I use. But, having the texturized pachyderm, that one just became funny as I was writing it. I don't know. It was just a sense of humor.
Great.
And no, and again, I looked up the odd combinations of letters to come up with some of the words, but these aren't necessarily words that I wouldn't use.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's no real rhyme or reason for me. It was just fun.
Well, I love hearing that there were lots of giggles too.
Yeah, there
And
were.
I would have loved to have seen the cutting room floor to see what other words didn't make it. So
There
you
were a
might
lot.
you might just consider, I don't know, taping those up, putting them on Post-it notes or something that you can kind of mix around and see what other words come up for next time. I hope you enter again.
Well, I was keeping a word list, and I was happy to see that you had it again. Although after writing the number that I did, I was a little bit burned out and couldn't get any more to flow. So I'll have to wait a few more days.
There
You
you
have
go.
a whole year for next year, Barbara.
That's true. That's true.
Start
I'll keep
early.
in mind.
That's absolutely right. Well, I'm super excited to just think about the different ideas that we can take from here, right? So, is it possible, could we make this an actual holiday like National Pencil Day? Only I think it should be international. So, if anybody has any ideas of how to World Pangram Day, if anybody has any ideas of how to get that out there or how to get it approved by who, I don't know. But I'm just going to declare now that we are going to make it a holiday and we're going to keep this contest going. You're all welcome to submit. Right? Anything else before we, from the sweethearts here, before we announce our top 3 winners that were chosen one by each of you? Anything yet? Are we gonna do we need a drum roll?
You're muted.
Sorry, I had a vet problem. I'm in talks with them and I had to mute for a second, but I just want to say congratulations to everybody
Yeah,
ahead of time.
this was a huge endeavor.
And I hope everybody's got lots of love.
Oh, I hit it too fast.
We're ready.
Okay, that went on way too long. Sorry, Mike.
No, that was good. I was just wishing everybody to be surrounded by love out there, because that's what makes the world go round, and we'll be a happy planet. There it is. Yep.
There we go. There we go.
If we spread the love.
So everyone today is going to receive a PDF of all of the winning pangrams. It'll be a copy of all of these slides, but I'm also going to make some edits. So if in the next 24 hours you look over my PDF and tell me I've got some edits to make, let me know, because I'm going to be making those over the next day or two. And also everyone that's on this call today, and I know who you are, I'll be sending you a free access to one of my courses on Let's Letter Together. If you already have access to it, you are welcome to share that access with a friend. And everyone who submitted today, I haven't told the jurors this, but these 3 are my lettering sweethearts. And I asked them back in 2021 to come together and teach a class called For the Love of Lettering. And they invited us into our studios. It was absolutely beautiful. And I would love to give each one of the Pangram, those who submitted for this contest, access to that course. So it's a wonderful opportunity to get to hang with these 3 even more. But without further ado, I would like to announce our first winner, and this was chosen by Sharon. So Sharon, would you say a little bit about this winner, why you chose it?
Well, I loved, again, how it sounded and felt like a haiku. And it was just speaking to me, given the wintry mood I was in, and it's very poetic. Frozen crystal flakes drift in veiled moonlight, pure jewels of exquisite blue. So
Beautifully lettered, Sharon. That is gorgeous.
well, if you can see the blue a little bit more,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, and that was another thing. I literally sat all day with it, and I did variations just to tell you about my process. Sometimes things, fall out very quickly, and I played with, wanted it to be very light, but I also wanted it to be definite. And I wanted to speak to the pure jewels of these crystal flakes that I see, the exquisite, unique things that each snowflake is. So, and then my thumbprint, it was just to
Sign it.
and give a sense of the uniqueness of of each flake. So snowflake.
This
Love
is
it.
fantastic. What an honor to see this, right? But you certainly brought it to life. Thank you so much, Sharon. And I want to let everyone know that the winners, these lettered pangrams are going to be turned into stickers. And the winner and the artist are both going to get copies of these. And we're going to figure out how many hundreds we want to print up. And if any of you want to buy them, we'll sell them at cost. We just want to make sure that we get the pangrams out there and out into the world. So are we ready for the next top winner? I think I lost my drum roll, so you'll have to imagine that in your head. And so this was chosen by Carol DuBosch. Carol, can you tell us a little bit about what got you so excited about this piece?
It just spoke to my experience becoming a calligrapher. Calligraphy, joyful vixen, quickly grabbed me, and zing, that was it. And that's exactly what my experience becoming a calligrapher was. And Sally, that's yours.
I know, Carol.
I didn't know that.
I'm so honored that you chose that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love it. And I immediately knew that I wanted to do it in a vertical layout with lots of different scripts and try to somehow incorporate a little meaning into how the word looked.
You nailed it.
Thank you. It's coming from you. That's a compliment,
Oh,
Sally.
I think Carol nailed it with a couple of them. Do you have the other one that Carol did too, Heather?
I don't have it on hand. So Carol,
Oh,
I don't
'cause
know if
that
Carol was,
That
yeah.
was beautiful too, and I guess you changed it, Carol, because it was the lettering with a lot of the lettering was going to be too small for a sticker.
Carol, actually, you lettered this in another way too.
Yes.
Yeah. So you lettered this, but I was loving it, and it was it was beautiful, but I don't have that right on top of hand, Mike. Thanks for
Okay.
putting us on the spot.
Sorry to kerfuffle you there, Heather.
I do if I could share screen.
Cruel of me. Let me
Because
see what I
Sally
can
should
do.
see that one too, because it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Mike said, Carol was very ambitious and did a whole bunch of these. There we go.
This is
And
the other version, Sally.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
that's wonderful too.
Mhm.
Oh, both of them.
Thanks.
Fabulous.
So can you tell us a little bit, Sally, what inspired you to create this piece?
Well,
how
it's
did this one
much like
specifically?
what Carol said, why she was drawn to it. This was my experience. Calligraphy is something that stepped into my life when I was very young, and boom, I mean, it changed my life, and it's been with me ever since. And the calligraphic community is this wonderful, inclusive group of people that you just can't help but be drawn to. So this was really sort of created from the heart. You know, it is what calligraphy is to me.
Wonderful.
So there you go.
Yay. Well, thank you
Yay,
so
thank
much
you,
for
Sally.
submitting it, for
Well, thank you, Carol.
inspiring us.
Thank you.
And I'll be in touch with you shortly of how many of these you would like, if you would like them, if you'd like some
Oh, but
copies of the
Jillian, I'd
sticker.
love to share them with my students. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. All those great styles. And then our final one, thank you so much, Sally, for joining us today. And then our final one this was chosen by Mike. So Mike, can you tell us a little bit about this piece and what inspired you to choose it as your favorite pangram? You already talked about it a little bit.
yeah, and ultimately, I guess I chose the ones that were the most poetic to me, and this one, I guess being in the cold of winter here in Ohio, although it hasn't been as cold as it sometimes is, of course, we're all looking forward to spring, and this kind of made me think of that. And so I guess if it had already been spring or it was summer, maybe I would feel differently, but probably not. This was just so beautifully written. This could be a poem all in and of itself, even if it wasn't a pangram. And, I think Sharon and I were both on the same page with this, although I really loved the humorous ones too. Those, I have so many top picks. You just had to kind of finally just say, okay, this is the one that I want to do. Plus, I ran them past my wife too, and she helped me pick out some of these as well, because I was having a difficult time because it was so hard to choose. But I ultimately thought that this one would be fun to do and fun to letter, and I liked the idea of a window left ajar with the vernal equinox of spring sighing into the window. I mean, what a great description! Sighing into the
Yes.
back window, not just blowing or
Sighing.
whatever, just sighing into the wind, into the back window. That was just so beautiful. And the word zephyr, I hadn't really used the word zephyr before. I've heard of it, but I hadn't really, used it before. But I will now, because it has such beautiful meaning, a gentle breeze, so it was fun to do. And when I lettered it, I wanted it to feel like sort of a breeze carrying the letters through the air, and then at the bottom leaving the word ajar, so that didn't quite, go with that. But it was fun to work out. I'm used to working a little bit more spontaneously, and not always so readable. And I did stack the lettering, so it made it a little bit harder to read. But, my wife goes, boy, that looks a lot like a greeting card. And I'm going, I'm trying to get rid of my greeting card past. But this was fun to do because I wanted the words to be seen, and I wanted it to feel, it could be on a greeting card. So this is sort of a throwback to my greeting card days, and having to write things that were a little bit more legible, albeit not in a traditional hand. But I've done a lot of this stuff. I've been doing a lot of envelopes, and I like being able to do the skeleton letters or the double stroke letters like this, because it allows you to color them so nicely this way, whether it's with watercolor or colored pencils, or in this case, I just actually used some of the like combo markers that I have. So the actual piece looked like, well, it's going to be blurred out. Let me see if I can.
You'll have to turn off your background.
Right. So you can sort of see it there. It's like 11 by 14, the original size.
Did you do sketches for that and drafts? Sketches of.
I did some sketches, which is against the way that I like to do it and stuff, but I did some sketches because I wanted to get the balance right.
Show your work, Mike. Show your work.
What, the sketches?
If you have them handy, we'd love to see them.
I don't have them handy, but I also cut them up a little bit too. So
okay.
I did do some sketches, and I had to, and all that. But and it was kind of an afterthought. One of the things that I did do was I had to add the little bird that you can sort of see. You can't really see it on the small one, but do you see the bird there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Right after equinox and into, yeah.
Right, because I wanted the bird looking in to the window. So I didn't want it. I wanted it to be a little bit understated, but because it was reminding me of the greeting card days, there was it was also a little bit of a sense of humor for me too, because one of the sayings in the greeting card biz is that if you're not sure whether the design is finished or whether it was going to sell, just put a bird on it, and then it will sell for sure.
Right.
So just when you're not sure, add a bird. So that's what I did. I added a bird.
I love it. There's some back there.
And they have to be a certain kind of bird. They have to be a happy, fluffy bird. You can't a little skinny bird or whatever. It has to be nice, happy, fluffy bird.
No grumpy birds allowed.
Yeah, but
I love
for spring and and all that, you only have happy birds, right?
That's right. That's right. Well, I have to tell you, I'm not too happy with myself because I have a list of edits that I need to make to this PDF, but I promise to send it to everyone who's here today, everyone who's registered. You will get a list of all the pangrams in PDF form so that you can write them out yourself. We would love for you to continue by taking those pangrams and lettering them. We have so many wonderful calligraphers in the room, so please use those to letter. If you'll please give credit where credit is due, and also hashtag Pangram Love. That is going to be, we're hoping that we can make that go viral. Pangram Love. And if you know of any other hashtags or any other ways that we can make this contest better, please let me know. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Any last bits of wisdom from our letterings and our Pangram sweethearts now that we're making this official?
This might be a great time and place, Heather, to just pick a day for World Pangram Day. Because otherwise, how are you going to get the word out to the people who are really interested?
Yeah. Does anybody have like a specific day? Because I was just going to make it February 1st. But I don't know if anyone has a real reason.
I vote for February 1st.
I do too.
Yeah.
Second.
Are we going to own it? Pangram Day
let's do it,
started
yes.
here. World
Right,
Pangram Day,
right here,
February 1st.
right now.
2024. Yep.
Great. Great. I'm going to put that in the chat. Everyone mark your calendars. That's the deadline. So you're going to want to go to bit.ly.
2024.
There we go. Someone's making notes and everything. So you're going to go to bit.ly/Pangram Love to submit any of your pangrams. That would be so fantastic. And we'll probably continue to have the celebration on Valentine's Day. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. If you need to drop off, we totally understand. And just be on the lookout in your inboxes. We'll send you some more Pangram love and lots of tips and tricks. Oh, I didn't let the other two speak. Sharon, Mike, do you have something else to add? We're
Let the
still
words be yours. I'm done with mine. It's all good. And thank you, Heather. Thank you,
Heather.
and to
Yep.
my esteemed colleagues and friends too. It's a joy to see you all and to be among you.
Yeah,
Privilege.
thank you all for being here, and thanks, Heather. This is a great idea. Lots of fun. Appreciate that.
Thanks
Yes.
to all the Pangram lovers and for submitting. Yay.
Thank you.
All right. I'm just going to save
I
the
think
chat.
you might get a lot more next year,
Oh
Heather.
my God.
This is
You might have to enlist more judges.